Hello, everyone. I'm Lynette Farr, and you're going to be participating in a book study on a book that I've chosen. The book is on reading in the content area, and we're going to do this book study through this video and two more following videos. The book in this study is Amy Benjamin's book on reading comprehension entitled But I'm Not a Reading Teacher, Strategies for Literacy Instruction in Content Areas. This book is a book about thinking strategies that will help any teacher to assist their students when reading text to comprehend the information that's being delivered regardless of the content area. Now, although this book was not specifically written to target students with reading disabilities or deficits, there's no doubt that reading strategies and reading comprehension strategies can help anyone when they're reading. Everyone can improve. As I said, this book is more of a book of thinking strategies, so it's about strategies that will help readers understand and remember what they've read. Now, according to the book, the National Council of Teachers of English, the NCTE, defines reading as this, quote, "Reading is a complex, purposeful, social, and cognitive process in which readers simultaneously use their knowledge of spoken and written language, their knowledge of the topic of the text, and their knowledge of their culture to construct meaning. Reading is not a technical skill acquired once and for all in the primary grades, but rather a developmental process. A reader's competence continues to grow through engagement with various types of texts and wide reading for various purposes over a lifetime." End quote. Now, that is a quote that the NCTE put out in 2016. And with that being said, hopefully through this book study, we will gain some insight on how to continue an ongoing developmental process of reading for our students and ourselves. And in this video, I'm just going to give you an overview of the book, which is broken down into 5 total parts and 8 total chapters. Okay, so we're just going to kind of go through that so you can see what is contained within the book. The first part of the book focuses on academic reading. Chapter 1 concentrates on learning. What is learning and how we learn? Ultimately, in able to learn, we need to be able to focus. We need to connect what we read to prior knowledge. And we need to be able to do all of this routinely over a period of time in order to form good reading habits and apply the information that's going into our brains into layers. We learn in layers so that it can be absorbed and understood more easily. Chapter 2 discusses scaffolding vocabulary instruction. So word recognition at the secondary level, phonemic blends in Greek-based words, and the academic language toolbox. Chapter 3 covers standardized tests in reading comprehension and how we can prepare students for the tests. Not teaching to the test, that's something different. This is giving them practice in the 6 categories of reading comprehension test questions. It helps them to understand what they read, the type of question that they're reading, to be able to answer it better. Okay, so there's 6 types of 6 categories of comprehension test questions, and those categories include the main idea questions, the vocabulary and context questions, the author's intent question, the internal organization question, the drawing conclusions question, and finally the 2-part question. Chapter 4 covers math and the types of reading that is expected in math class, business, computer, and vocational classes, and what kind of reading is expected there. Reading that you can expect to see and experience in science class, social studies, and languages other than English, like foreign languages. Finally, what kind of reading is expected in English class, such as fiction and poetry, things like that. That ends part 2. So the third part of the book discusses strategies for reading. Chapter 5 covers the before reading strategies. So these are reading strategies that students can implement before they start reading. And those strategies include identifying the purpose of the reading, why are they reading, previewing to determine importance, and third, bringing forth prior knowledge as related to the purpose for reading. So those are things that are discussed in Chapter 5. And my second video will talk more about those strategies, about Chapter 5, and about how you can help students with those strategies and what they can do to make those strategies work for them. Chapter 6 focuses on the during reading strategies. So these are strategies that students implement while they are reading, in the act of reading. These strategies include recognizing textual pattern clusters and making connections in the reading. And we will talk more about that also in the third video in this series, and that third video covers Chapter 6 and more about the strategies that students can use during reading. And the next chapter is Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is the last chapter in the fourth part of the book. And Chapter 7 is on the after reading strategies, what the strategies that students can use after they've completed the reading. Okay, and it's also has a part for taking ownership of the reading through wrap-up activities. So there's some wrap-up activities in that chapter. Okay, now the final part of the book, the fifth part of the book, goes over school-wide programs, things to not only help you in your classroom, but things that can be used school-wide. Chapter 8 talks about strategies, what works and what doesn't work, including what works and doesn't work using media and reading tools. What works and doesn't work with reading materials, what works and doesn't work with grouping and instruction and teacher comprehension strategies, and what works and doesn't work with the student's role in reading. So this chapter also includes a chapter on why the quote-unquote old model of teaching does not work. Okay, the author's hope for the reader after reading this book is that you'll have a newfound understanding and idea of what reading comprehension is and how it works, so that you can refine or maybe totally reform the strategies that you use in your classroom and your school to assist students with their reading comprehension in your content area, whatever that content area might be. In that is pretty much the basic overview of the book. Like I said, in my next two videos, we'll go over a couple parts of the book a little more thoroughly. I'll discuss deeper the chapter of the book, two chapters of the book, like I said, chapters 5 and chapter 6, and how it will help you to assist your students with reading comprehension. Now, first, we'll look at chapter 5. Chapter 5 is the before reading strategies, and in the third video, we'll look at chapter 6, which is the during reading strategies. And you can find the links to those other videos in the information part below. So if you would like to view those, you can click on that. And I hope that you, if you haven't already, that you will get out your copy of But I'm Not a Reading Teacher, Strategies for Literacy Instruction in the Content Areas by Amy Benjamin, and follow along as we discuss this book so that you can, make comments or questions about anything that you might, something that might spark a comment, or if you have a question about something I've said or something you see in the book, please feel free to put that below the video here, and I'm really excited to hear your thoughts and see what all kinds of conversations we can have about this truly useful book on strategies. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.